Sedgwick under the group retrospective rating current program with Sedgwick for the year 2023. Now, do we have a month on that? It'd be what, from May 1st to April 30th?
I thought it was July.
Is it 1 year?
I'm not sure. I know the deadline was May 1st.
Yeah, enrollment deadline was for, I actually think May 1st was the deadline. I know that's when I was talking to my company, that's when we did ours. I would say May 1st.
Yeah, maybe they can make it retroactive back to that date.
Yep, and if it's wrong, we'll just have to amend it, but I'm pretty certain it's, for group rating enrollment deadline, May 1st. Group retro enrollment deadline is July 1st, so if we're doing the group retro, this, it might not be due until July 1st, but for group rating enrollment, yeah, okay, yeah, make it May 1st.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to remain with Sedgwick, group rating, group retrospective rating, the current program that we're under now, for another year.
Do you have cost attached to that?
$6,322.
$6,322.00.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call,
Yes.
Yes.
yes. Thanks, Phyllis. Do you want me to sign these here for me? Why don't I just hang on to this and then I'll have it, I'll talk to them and I'll sign it, get it back to you, how's that?
Alright, could you read the cost out loud one more time then if you're gonna take that paper?
The cost of the plan,
Yes, sir.
$6,322.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, Tommy, anything else?
Yeah, I'd like to, set up a work session, with the board, to discuss, fire department levy options. We're getting to the point that we're gonna have to do something to keep this fire department and move it forward to the future. Staffing is not getting any better. We need full-time people. Lordstown's hiring full-time people. Howland's hiring full-time people. Bezetta's getting ready to hire again full-time people. It's gonna be competitive, but, you know, I think if we sit down together and come up with a plan that, we can all agree on and, you know, help sustain the fire department well into the future, not just today.
Do Tuesday nights work for everybody here?
Pardon me?
Tuesday evenings work for everybody here? We have to look at these, departments and their monetary needs. It's getting kinda late, so, you know, months keep ticking and we're gonna miss a window here that we can't afford to miss.
Correct.
Might as well do police too,
Hmm.
same night.
Yep, I mean, set that up, we can do, have that talk, police and fire. Same night.
So you're looking at, this month,
What's that, Bill?
you looking at this month?
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, hang on, a second, I did something. So, today is the,
It would have to be next
together? Do you have all your figures put together?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you get those to us ASAP?
That's the detail here.
Yep.
I was gonna say, I sent them to you already. I gave them to you already.
I didn't get any.
What's that?
I didn't get them.
I didn't either.
But you just gave them today, Courtney?
Pardon me?
You just gave them to us today?
No,
They're
about
in-
6 weeks
in
ago?
an email,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you meant to give them that to me.
Mhm.
I just requested these from Tommy and, actually picked them up there this morning
Yeah.
sometime. He was supposed to get me coffee, he never did, but just saying.
Just say what? Just say what?
Just saying, he didn't give me any coffee.
Okay.
More than Starbucks
So
coffee.
what-
I'm gonna try my luck at lunchtime then.
You wanna shoot for the 23rd, fellows, and if that doesn't work out, that'll give us to the 30th?
Yes,
Because the, deadline would be, August 9th. And that would be for turning in, anything to the, Board of Elections. And then it's gotta go to the prosecutor once, we establish if there's, gonna be a levy, it's gotta be sent to the prosecutor, I believe, to be written. Is that correct?
Yeah, we need 2 meetings at least 10 days apart.
6:30
2
here?
days apart.
And the prosecutor's office tends to be pretty busy in July, so we want to get it in before then.
The time,
six or 6:30.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Would you be available next Tuesday for a media workshop on, your levy needs?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Will you be bringing any figures?
What?
Will you be bringing any figures
You want me to?
or stats?
I'll bring you some stats.
Alright.
six
Okay,
thirty.
let's set it for the 23rd at 6:30.
6 o'clock or 6:30, doesn't matter.
There we go, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Okay, and that'll be held here, or do you wanna have that at the township building?
Preferably here.
Will you be able to pull up any information that we need
Yes.
here? Okay, make copies or anything?
I can bring a little printer with me.
Okay.
Make sure we get that advertised.
Yes. Okay.
For the month of April, we ran 220 alarms, 174 of those being EMS. 46 of those being fire-related calls. We are currently at 791 calls, and that was at the end of April, that's not counting anything from May. So, busy, and that's, we had 45 consecutive calls last month.
45?
Yeah. I don't know why, but we go back-to-back calls all the time. Today, 3 times. That's all I got.
How many part-time do we have on duty right now, Tommy?
On the roster, 19.
How many active?
5 or 6.
How many have worked on the last week?
5 or 6.
Same
We're at
5 to
5 to
6.
6 checks.
In the last week, 5 or 6. Said in the last week, 5 or 6.
Same 5 to 6,
Yeah.
as the week before, as the week before, as the week before?
Yeah.
So
I
you
think-
got,
what do you
you got
think?
5 to 6 on the roster.
Yeah, and out of those 19, 17 of them have full-time fire jobs
I
now.
get it.
Yeah.
I'm just putting the spotlight on the problem, is all I'm doing.
Yeah, I know.
I get, I mean, I understand it, and you take a guy that has a full-time job in another department that's running 2 calls a shift for 3 times the money, and ask him to come here as a part-timer, or he can't get off his feet for 24 hours.
And that's the thing I don't know if everyone realizes, when I say they have other full-time jobs, they work a 24-hour shift at their full-time job. And then they come to Champion and work a 12 or a 24-hour shift again.
You get pummeled.
And get, yes, I told you guys before, Champion is the busiest single firehouse in the county. There's just no rest for the wicked there.
Have we, being as busy as we are, have we looked at going away from the 24-hour model to other scheduling models where these guys aren't getting killed for 24 straight?
You're gonna fall under, or you're gonna get in trouble with FLSA, we're gonna have to hire more full-time guys. And once they go for 40 hours then it's gonna be overtime. The 24-hour model works. If we went to what they call a California swing, we'd have to hire an entire other shift. You know, one thing I did look at, which probably bring up in negotiations, is going to a 52-hour work week. And that's popular with Howland, Warren, Cortland. So I think that would give them a little bit more time off, more of a break in between, and still keep the model we have basically, as far as the shifts go.
Now Liberty's running that California.
Yeah, and it's goofy as heck. I don't understand it, but then again, I've only worked this, you know, I've only worked at 56, 24 on, 48 off, so. We talked about it years ago, but we just didn't have the guys.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I said, okay.
Yeah, I look at some of these other townships that want to, or villages that want to, start an EMS service,
So what?
that want to start an EMS service. They're strictly fire now, and I have to look at it cross-eyed, why they'd even want, big responsibility.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because they've been relying on departments such as Champion and Howland and Bezetta that have been staffed full-time with full-time medics for years. And those departments have always given them the services that they needed. As these departments struggle with staffing, we are no longer able, Champion is a good example, we are no longer always able to offer our services to Southington, Warren Township, Bristol. And their residents are demanding services, so, the next thing that happens is the privates are dwindling, they're closing. So if you wanna take care of your residents, number one, your residents need to pay for it. Number two, you need to staff it in-house because there's nobody able to come anymore. You know, that's a big problem, and I get it. When I look at some of these communities that are trying to get EMS programs off the ground, Warren City is struggling and fighting with some demons down there right now.
That's gonna get real bad real quick.
It is gonna get horrible, and, there's no answers. There's no relief. I mean, so, as these places, Warren City it's on the verge of a disaster there as far as I'm concerned, and they don't have any simple solutions to this problem.
No, and I told you, you know, last year, their solution was to divide their city up into quadrants and have us, Howland and Warren Township, take those calls.
Well, didn't they divide us up when John was here into 4 quadrants? And then we have different quadrants and they divide us into 4 quadrants?
Not for Warren City.
No, not for Warren City, but for us.
Oh, yeah, for us, yeah.
Regular
that's-
4
yeah,
quadrants
That's for our neighbors.
system.
And actually, we have 2 now. We have a north and a
Done
south.
too.
Yeah.
The other thing is, Tom, is this lift assist. Sending a pickup truck with, 2 guys in it and, the box
Mhm.
for a lift assist to get somebody in and out, and then come back and talk with one of the fellows. There's 6 more calls that we have next week, cause the guy's got, 3 more doctor's appointments.
I know.
And then you've got, Windsor House and these different homes that, aren't staffed. If somebody's a diabetic and they start to go low, they're not staffed to
Well, the
give
assisted
them
living.
orange juice
Yeah.
or whatever.
The assisted livings aren't able to do that. They're not allowed to do that, just like, you know, they can't give oxygen. It's a prescription. If they don't have the prescription for oxygen, because it's a drug, they can't give it. And just like, you know, the lift assist, for example, the one the other day, the patient was 500 plus pounds, they get there and it turned out to be a cardiac arrest.
Mm.
So, I mean, when they call for a lift assist, sometimes it's just not a lift assist. It's, you know, thank God our wonderful policemen were there to give us a hand, because if not, it would have been bad.
And that has driven some of our call volume up.
Sure.
I mean, Windsor House was doing it through a private before, they're not now.
No, the Windsor House had a contract with Life Fleet Ambulance. You know, so we saw Life Fleet coming in there all the time, we waved to them as they went by, you know? Well, now that Life Fleet's no longer, you know, there, they shut their doors, and, the contract, not the contract, but the calls fall on us, they call 911, and
In that facility there, it pays taxes,
pays
so
taxes, yeah.
you have an obligation to serve them, and
Mhm.
it's, I get it, we, you know, we have two of those facilities in town, plus a dialysis center that's a needy, business, you know, we have a lot of businesses in our township that never need any,
Mhm.
emergency care, and we have other ones that were there daily, you know, so it's, I get it, but that's just what it is, we can't quit serving them.
No, now we go from, I was teasing John just before the meeting, you know, we go from going in a fire truck to 2 seconds later we get canceled, and then we get a nursing home call. So, it is what it is.
Anything else, Tom, anything
No,
for
that's it.
Tom?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sean? what
I
do you
got,
got?
I got nothing, I just,
Said nothing?
You don't want any of it?
no,
You sure?
we're good. Wait, how much you got?
16.
this down.
May 16th, 7/16.
Always ask for something.
Sean says for spending any money.
Do you guys have anything else before we go to, public comment?
Larry's back in the corner there.
I'm sorry, Larry,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chief, go ahead.
Chief.
Sorry, I'm afternoon turn today, so that's why I wasn't here earlier. No, I got nothing other than our call volume is up. We'll be up over probably 1,000 calls on this time last year. So, by the time we do, June's report, I estimated we'll be right around 1,000 calls over last year.
And you submitted your generator,
That was submitted, Courtney got a copy, I think I sent it, cause I sent it both ways and there was some discussion whether I should have submitted it as a general project or as the infrastructure one, so I just did them both to see how it would go through, so, and I haven't heard anything back.
okay.
Yeah, I submitted ours under the infrastructure. I talked to, Director Hickey, and that's the way he was guided when he got the mobile command post.
Okay.
Did you get quotes on the electric for me?
They were supposed to email those directly to you.
I didn't get nothing.
Larry, talked to Tommy a little bit today about 911 center, how are they performing for the police department?
Bite my tongue, because they are our lifeline, but there have been times where I feel that they're unsafely staffed, because, you know, their call volume, they're complaining that they have to take the calls over the calls on the radio first. So whether it's an officer asking for help, or if it's, you know, they answer the phones first, they're not adequately staffed, which that hurts time-wise. You know, if you're running a license plate or a registration such as on a out of state, you're gonna take several minutes, and by that time, you know, who knows what could happen if they're a wanted person. But then there are times like when we had the winter, or the storms with the wind, they were tremendous, you know, the girls did a tremendous job. You know, I think we had one night alone, we had 58 trees down, I think it was called or whatever, and they handled them, so we didn't have any bad crashes from it. So they did a great job. I just think that right now they're just having a hard time keeping staff. I know they're looking to hire a director here in the next, I believe, probably a couple weeks, as soon as the commissioners vote on it, maybe that'll be some better direction.
Seems to have been the goal for the last several years. I'm just saying, okay.
Can I ask you something, Larry? I'm trying to think of, the generators, did they, hit you up for 20, 22K, 24K?
22K dubs,
And was that, Kohler or Generac?
They were both. There were two different types. One was Kohler, one was Generac. Each one of the bids was different, you know, whoever serviced it. I think the cheapest one we got was right around, I think it was from Heartland, which, they were right around 10,250, but they were all the same size, KW.
Is that installed?
That's installed. The problem is the infrastructure behind it, the wiring, as Sean would say, they all opened the box and thought Thomas Edison put it there. That's no joke. They all made comments like, wow, we haven't seen a fuse box that bad. So at some point, that would be another thing that would have to be.
I was at an auction last week and they had a bunch of them round fuses that you
Yes.
screw in. If you need any.
Well, this, yeah. So, they were supposed to give us a quote separate to that, upgrade that part of the building.
Did they say where they were gonna set that?
It would be next to the, gas, on the
Up front?
west side of the building.
Behind our mechanics back.
Because that's right where the gas
Behind the
line would
mechanics
be.
back, that's where the meter's at.
They would bore a concrete pad there and put it on that concrete pad right next to the gas main. So it'd be,
Straight.
and they would do the whole building.
Alright, thank you.
Follow up with you tomorrow, and I'll get their numbers and see if I can get a hold of them.
I did email one tonight, because he asked me if we had an update from the county, and I said, nope.
Can you send that to me? What, I got the, bids, different companies.
Did you put the whole bids in those packets? I don't remember. Those packets that you sent me for the.
I'm just trying to remember if we put everybody's bid in there or we just put the low bid, cause I don't think they asked for the specific bid, they needed a general amount.
Okay, yeah, if I have them, I can send them, if not, I'll get Larry and.
I have them. I go.
Now, did, they have that, battery, I think it's a battery, a heating element?
Yeah,
is that
everything
all
had this-
included? Trans-
So that the heating element was on the oil, filters, all of that.
Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, do you guys have anything before we go to the public?
I do, I continue to be plagued with zoning issues. I think it would have been March. There was a request by a gentleman on Brookside Drive to do a demolition but leave the garage stand. And he had filed an appeal. Did we allow the garage to stand?
I believe they gave him a 2-year conditional, similar to, other issues in the past. That it, as long as,
Are we positive of that?
I'm 98% sure.
I thought the same. Wolford's called today, can't get a hold of our zoning department.
The phones have been down since Thursday. They were up briefly yesterday. The phones at the administration building have been down, or on our side, not on police side, since Thursday. They were briefly up yesterday. Joel's been working on it. That's when I talked to you yesterday about the electrical issue.
Is that phone in my office for zoning?
It is. It's a
ringing
mirror.
off the hook.
It's a mirror for the zoning, so
Yeah.
you can use it to make
Which in
outgoing
turn
calls, but
makes
it's the
mine
zoning line.
Ring off the hook
It'll
and makes
ring like
Rex's ring
crazy.
off the hook and makes Bill's ring off the hook. And quite frankly, I'm not a zoning guy.
Me neither, that's why I
Job,
answered
it's
it.
not what I'm
Well,
here to
yeah,
do.
no, you're not expected to.
Struggling to take care of these things, but I'm at the wall.
That's
They're
what
not
I,
leaving voicemails very often either. They're,
They should have to leave voicemails, we should be picking up a phone and talking to these people.
not when you don't have a zoning person.
Okay. You're at the wall, saying, this is gonna stop pretty much now, because I'm done with it. I cannot spend 4 hours a day of my life trying to deal with zoning problems. I'm not a zoning person. I'm not schooled in zoning. It's not what I'm gonna do, so this is gonna get fixed. So, I was hoping that somebody from zoning would be here tonight. I need something sent to Wolford's tomorrow. saying, do this demolition on Brookside and leave that garage stand. Because without something from the township, they will not do that. Because our zoning regulations clearly state that you cannot have a garage on a residential lot without a house. I know where there's 2 or 3 of them within the township, apparently that doesn't matter, but. So, I don't know who's gonna send this out.
Zoning Board of Appeals is the one who granted the,
When they make those decisions, you know, they need to copy us on it. That's kind of the first time I've heard of that,
Hi, how you
the
doing?
two-year allowance, blah, 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 but did you get copied on it?
Yeah,
Did you have to
you
go-
got, like a copy, and
Yeah,
I just
we-
simply forward a copy, but I don't have anything to forward. These people are anxious, might be a good word. It's a mild description of what I'm hearing on the streets. Yeah, we just, this has to be fixed. These guys here have a zoning issue. You know,
Well, we need to extend Jennifer's time another 2 weeks at